what they did. But it won't ruin the surprise. If you guys get here, you guys may not even go this way. But if you guys get past this part, and if you guys get to this part, that, I mean, we're talking like completely changed the entire direction of what we were going to do. Like, it was so major that it changed. I had a path planned, and it changed it completely. So yeah, I can say like I can say like very like in vague terms, they committed some. I told some of you guys that they committed some murders of some innocent NPCs, and because of that, a group that they were working with, a group or person, I'm going to say, who they were working with, didn't want to align with them anymore. And so I had all these things planned that they could have done with this group and people and person and all that. That cannot happen anymore.
I will admit, as a player, I did that not too long ago, where in a town, I began killing a bunch of town guards because they were making sacrifices. And then after I killed the captain, I quickly cast Revivify and resurrected her. And then the whole party was kicked out of town from that day forth. And it was a pretty large city.
Yeah. You could get back.
It was an awesome session with reverberating consequences.
Yeah, well, this is gonna have reverberating consequences that are gonna the consequences of what they did, which again I won't say what they are going to slowly show up and escalate. So they think that it's bad enough what happened to them. Well, the first things that happened, like the immediate consequences, they're gonna come. They're not gonna go on forever, but they're gonna see the consequences of their actions as the world
That's dope.
keeps going. Okay, so we're missing Phineas, so we'll wait for Phineas. And let me get my notes up. After a while, you guys, I was like, I had that stupid caution sign up and I found it annoying myself, so I took it down. I had on the main screen, I had that sign that said caution moving or something. And then I just realized it's just kind of annoying and bright yellow and obnoxious. So I'm like, I'm getting rid of this. I don't even like this.
Do you have like a map or anything you want to throw up instead? Or some background art of the environment?
I do have background art. Well, it's not obviously my game. I do have a map, but we are not going to be revealing that yet. I do have like a screen that I've already made, but I'll need you, once you guys make your tokens, I'll be able to finish that. So when you guys have your tokens, I'll be able to finish that because I need your tokens for it. Not a rush, of course, just as long as I have them by session 1. It's fine. I need to watch a lot of stuff on, I need to watch some videos on, I think, more videos on D&D Beyond, but I got a good idea from what you had helped me with, how it works. So, okay, so let me send Brendan a message. Oh, good. So that's a token.
Yeah, I have a first one up, but I am torn because I'm feeling them both.
Okay, cool.
Here, I'll throw mine in there too if you want.
Okay, I like these tokens.
Where the heck is my token? Ah, crap, I gotta go make the thing again. I think I accidentally deleted it.
Okay.
As of course I did.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to find tokens like this that are diverse. Really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard. Like I look and look and look. But I've managed to find, like, I think some days, you guys, I have over 10 gigs of like D&D stuff on like a drive. That's like tokens, maps, everything. And I just sometimes go and like save pictures that'll come up later.
See, I do. I have a folder for character art. then I have a folder organized for tokens for both monsters and races, and I make them as needed. Like last night, I didn't have a Night Hag or an Oni token, but now I do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I need to separate mine into race. That's what I really need to do. I probably do that today, but yeah.
It's like, do not remind me about that Oni fight. That Oni fight was not fun.
You didn't die again. Chill.
Yeah, never play a game with Ghost when he's a DM. He is a sadist.
Oh no.
I'm a fair believer of what the dice say is what the dice say, and I embrace it. And as a DM, I always show what dice rolls I get as well. I don't fudge them because I like the chaotic nature of letting the dice say what they want to say. You know.
Yeah.
You show yours. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, no. I think all of my Brawlhalla players and most of my one-shot players have heard the phrase "the dice have a story to tell" come from me, because Cody, cover your ears. In basically one of the obstacles in the final Brawlhalla session, it rolled 3 nat 20s in a row, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess this is happening now." Yeah, no, a water elemental. Its first 2 attacks and its first saving throw, 20, 20, 20. But my rolls were on public, like they could see it happening.
Oh, no.
Like, listen, guys, like I don't know what to tell you.
See, I absolutely love that though, because you're in a tough spot when the enemy keeps coming at you, and they seem to be succeeding so well, but when they falter, the dice seem to always balance out, and the players come back with a vengeance.
Right. Yeah, I'm actually when I don't show the dice rolls. But the reason but I totally get what you all are saying. I understand why you would. I prefer not to because I want to. I mean, there's no way you can say completely immersive, but I personally just find it. I want to be more immersive to them not knowing exactly what the monster is doing, and I don't show dice rolls of. I went back and forth of showing dice rolls from a party NPC that, not saying we're going to get a party NPC, may or may not come up. But my other group has a party NPC, and I don't show her rolls. I went back and forth in my own head about that. Okay, so now that we're all here, welcome to session 0. Thank you guys for coming, and I appreciate it. Looking forward to this game a lot. Just had some notes here that I want to go over. I don't think this will take longer than an hour. You all seem fairly experienced in terms of, maybe not necessarily in terms of length, everybody, but in terms of understanding the rules and stuff like that. So most of my experience as a DM is with a group that is very, very new. And so some of those habits I'll kind of have to break, but I feel like I'm not going to have to handhold you guys at all. So that may take some getting used to for me. Please understand that I'm very open to constructive criticism. Very, very open. I do appreciate that constructive criticism comes after the game. Unless it's something that it's just so terrible, but bringing up a game is usually not the right way to go. I had a player like that. He ended up leaving my game, a whole drama, or ended up getting kicked out. That and other reasons. Okay, so let's start out with, I would like everybody, talk to some of you. If everybody wouldn't mind letting me know again, or changing your name to what you want to be referred to as, because you may not want to go by your real name, and then your character. I like Brandon Phineas. How you have that, something to that effect, character name. Would appreciate. Oh, you have another new name, Jono. Okay. I put the other one in, but that's perfectly fine. Yeah, we can change our characters up to the day of. I'm also, well, I'll get into that in a second. I'll get into character changes in a second. Okay. So I wanted to start out with going with the time of that we're going to play this game. Now, I plan to have this be a long-term game. It's not open-ended. It definitely has a story to be told, which will end at some point. There's a definite ending, but I do expect it to be long-term. So I'm hoping everybody can kind of commit to going for quite a while. I don't know how long it's going to be. My other group, like I said, has been playing for about 6 months, and they're not halfway there yet. They're probably maybe a third now, or not even a third, like a fourth. But of course, all of that obviously depends on what you guys do. Okay. Every week, we'll meet at this time, 3 hours. I like to kind of build in a flex time of 15 minutes. So we may run this a little bit long that day, but I kind of want to have a hard stop so people can plan around this. If you're not going to be there, I'd appreciate you telling me as soon as possible. Of course, that's not always going to work out. Now, if someone isn't here, I want to wait for 10 minutes and then I just want to start. Okay, so we'll have a start time of, hard start of 12:10 if someone's late. But again, if you let me know if you know you're going to be late. Now, if someone is out, is anybody opposed? And you can speak up or you can tell me later to someone else playing their character.
I would not want anybody to play my character.
Gotcha.
I have
Okay.
no issue with it myself.
Okay.
I'd be fine. I'd be fine with it if I was like absent or something, and I was like a vital part of the story or whatever. I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind either.
Okay. So
Yeah.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm planning. Eve had a great suggestion. I'm planning to make a tracking document for my reference as well. So as long as anyone can follow that, then it's not a problem.
Okay. So Brandon, how would you feel? And you can say no. I'm not going to be offended. Would you feel okay with me as a DM playing your character, or just have your character take a break that week?
If it's like combat, I'm fine with that.
Oh yeah, combat only. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to be clear, we would only play it through combat, and they will kind of be quiet that week.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So if someone's out, their character will be played for combat. Kind of in the background. Okay. And if 2 people are out, I'd rather skip the week. We have kind of a small group. My other group had 7. So with 5, if 2 are out, we'll skip that week. Also, sometimes things happen like capital insurrections where people aren't quite up to playing. My last group skipped on the day. My last group's on a Wednesday, and so the capital insurrection was that day in the U.S. And then there was the elections, and people were stressed out and stuff like that. So we skipped those days. We can always skip days like that. Now, this is definitely going to be a good campaign. I think I said already. So we are going to, lean towards good, lean towards collaborate. I would really like for the group to lean towards working together collaboratively, towards the goals that the group has. No matter what type of personality your character is, they can be working with the group for a selfish reason, right? Even if they're not the nicest guy out there. But yeah, collaborative and as much as possible. Not to say that you can never agree, but you're not actively working against the interests of the group. I don't really want a game like that. So you can disagree, you can have disagreements and quote unquote soft arguments with characters, but we're kind of all working towards the same for the most part. Now, when I asked you all what type of game you wanted this to be, I kind of looked at the different responses, and everybody strongly emphasized role play. And so that's actually exactly kind of how I intended this world to be. Lots of interactions with NPCs, pretty deep storylines, and a deep lore, I should say. And that will take the path that you guys take, right? I also got the answer of combat with creative solutions, but almost everybody said that they kind of wanted a good mix of both, but they liked roleplay more. Now, I will tell you now that I am a big fan of multi, there will almost always be a way, especially if you're facing intelligent creatures, to get out of the combat. Okay, so just
Yeah.
I'm not going to say so just think about it, right? You don't always have to fight. Okay, you can always like maybe talk your way out of it a lot of times, or maybe do something, or maybe like do something with the environment or stuff like that, to get out of the fight. And so just I'm going to throw out there. Couple people said puzzles. We'll have some puzzles, and we'll definitely have exploration. It is going to be a good mix of everything, though. I think I tend to have a little bit of combat most sessions. Not every session though. My other group is like combat, but it's not how it always works out. So they have to kind of get used to that. But yeah, so okay, role playing. I said that. Okay, this world is really active. There will be a lot of things happening behind the scenes. In the world, you guys will quickly figure that out. That things are going on in the background. So, there may be things that you can figure out or stumble upon often, and kind of try to figure out what's going on. Now, let's talk about off-limit topics. Okay, now, if you are not comfortable with bringing this up in this session, please let me know privately. But I want to talk about hard limits. Like, we are not going to go into that at all. And kind of like fade to black soft limits. And so I kind of want to start at the top of the list. And if you don't want to talk about that now, just say, I'll talk to you about that later. So why don't we start with Brandon and go down the list? So if you can just kind of give me an idea of like what you really don't want to see in this game, and then kind of what you would really rather not get into as in depth.
What do you want to see in the game?
What you don't want to see.
Yeah,
So
pretty
what
much.
content, what things you is a hard no. And then what things are like a soft no. Instead of getting into detail about it, we'll kind of fade to black.
I don't think there's a hard no for anything. I'd prefer just like no fucking hardcore fucking sex and none of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to like fucking smut D&D type game.
Right.
And that's about it.
Okay. Cody?
Yeah, literally the same. I'm okay with just about anything.
Okay.
My only D&D hard no, just even generally, is just sexual violence. So especially if it's not even a sexual campaign, then that shouldn't even be a problem. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
same with what everyone else is going with.
Okay.
For me, my only hard no is metagaming. I hate
Okay.
metagaming. I hate it so much. Oh my god. I want to be immersive.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I was going to talk about metagaming, so glad you brought that up. We'll talk about that later. Okay. So yeah, my same, hardcore sex, sexual assault. There may be, if there is a characters engaged in something, I might mention it briefly, but we're not going to get into any type of detail. Is anybody, and this is something that it's sort of related. Well, it is related, but I wouldn't get into detail if I have this in the campaign. Is anybody against having things like brothels or escorts like in town, where I wouldn't get into any detail, but I would just say it was there?
Yeah, I'm not against that.
Yeah, I'll say okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
no.
I just don't want people describing how they jerk each other off.
Yeah.
Like,
I would hope no one to go into that detail.
I'll keep that in my character description.
Right. Okay, cool. Okay. I'm going to add to this list, like torture. If there, I'll just say maybe if torture has happened, I'll say torture has happened. I'm not going to get into detail about that. We're not going to have any child abuse, or animal abuse. Okay. In detail. So, okay. All right. So
What about slavery?
Yeah, I can put slavery 100%. Yeah, I actually went.
I don't have an issue with slavery or prostitution or any of that. I'm very open-minded for it because it's just a role-play fantasy game, and it's not like we're gonna go into hardcore gory NSFW detailer and shit like that. It's just basically shit happens, fade to black, done.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Got it. Okay. All right. So, again, if you have anything else that comes up, let me know. If something comes up in the game that makes you uncomfortable, and you didn't know it did, I had that with the player in my game. He had no idea it was going to come up as a trigger. Just tell me, and you can even stop. Honestly, like, this is just a game, you guys. You can stop the game and be like, I'm not comfortable with this. Like, let's change the subject. I'm not, please do that. Take care of yourself first. That's the most important thing. Also, would anybody like to mention any pet peeves that don't quite fall under the hard limit? And anybody can speak up for that.
I think you kind of touched on it already. It's a collaborative game. So you just it doesn't matter if that's what your character would do. You've made the character, you're making that choice. So, let's work together. Let's get along.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, kind of what Jonno says. Like, nobody go chaotic stupid or something like that. Because that's
Yeah.
Lawful stupid. What do you mean?
That is the worst. Oh no, we definitely metagaming. Definitely metagaming.
That is such a trigger for me. Oh my God.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the player responsibilities. If everybody, am I in the game, or did I actually shut it down? Am I in roll 25?
I see we're missing one person in roll 20.
Oh, there I am. Okay. Yeah. Everybody, if you can get into roll 20, please, do so. Because I want to talk about some things. I really need to get better with things like roll 20, and also with like some of the rules. I need to get better at those. I'm really forgetful with rules. So please be patient with me. But okay, so where's my documents? I have too many tabs open. There we go. Okay. So I would like if someone now or later, if someone could please take the responsibility to be the group banker. If you guys look, I have a tab that says party resources. There's a bank NPC. I found it pretty easy that way to just like throw in the group items. I'm telling you all right now, I'm not keeping track of your gold. I have enough to do. Okay, so if I will keep track in my on my end of like items that may be like quest items that you won't know that they are important items that you all have. But I'm not going to be able to keep track of all the items that you guys pick up on the way. So if it's a group item, if someone could keep track of all that, and also just keep track of your own items. I'm not going to be keeping track of that. That's you guys'. That's on you all. So anybody who wants to do that, please do. But you all have the access to that character sheet. I also made a torch. Who is it? Who in this group doesn't have dark vision? Does everybody? I know there's at least one human.
Don't.
Okay, so you're a human, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember.
Custom lineage, but yeah, human. Basically.
Yeah. We have a couple humans. I did create a torch, and so that will. I don't know if you use this. I don't know if you use torches in the game before, in Roll20, but this doesn't have dynamic lighting on it. This board, but whenever you're in a dark cave or something like that, you can use this torch. We're just going to say that the torch is all, you just have a torch on you. I mean, that's a standard item. Okay. I'm not going to be like, oh, you used it last time. Like, you have a torch. Okay. You picked one up in town. I don't care. I'm not into micromanaging basic items like that. I don't really do that. So
on that, spell components, stuff like that.
So spell components, yes. So if it is something that is below like a significant amount of gold, like it's a common item, or let's say it could be something that's like, would it be more than, a few gold or copper or something like that? I don't manage that at all. Okay.
It doesn't have a gold price attached to the spell, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't manage that. The one thing I do manage is arrows, but we'll talk about that later. That's kind of a bit of a different thing. I do have a system for that. Okay. Go ahead and if everybody, I do appreciate that a couple of you put your AC and your passive perception in the name. So if everybody could do that when you get a chance, that'd be really helpful. Let's see next.
I'm sorry. What are we doing? My wife was distracting me for a second.
If you could change your character name in Roll20 to include your AC and passive perception, like Irene and Ramune have done.
Okay. Yeah.
When you get a chance, please. Okay. Another thing that you'll notice is that I put in the background section of the game documents to add your backgrounds in. The reason I did this is because some of you all will have secrets in your background that you will only want the DM to know. And so instead of having them in D&D Beyond, which others would see, I want those to be separate in Roll20 only that I can see it. So that's what that's for. So if you can please update that when you have a chance, just before next session. We don't have a deadline outside of that. We'll skip that for now. Okay, so a couple of things that I want you all to think. Oh, before I get to the next thing, if you could also please do me a favor. I know you've been discussing this in chat, but if you can add your connection information, your relationship to other character information to the background, that would help me out, so I don't have to go through all the chat in Roll20. Okay, so then next, this week, I would like you all to think about this. Now, this may require some discussion because some of you all have connections and know each other as well. But if you could please tell me about in Roll20 in private messages about where you see your character from being from. Are you from a small town? Are you from a village? Are you from this? I have cities and towns built already. So what we'll do is we'll kind of talk through like which of those you may have been from, or if nothing that I've created fits that, I'll come up with something else. Perfectly fine. I'm not shoehorning you guys into being in my world, right? It's not about that, right? So if you can just give me an idea of what type of place you foresee your character being from, we'll work on that. Now, there will be things that I will tell you, okay, as based on your background, that you will know about the city. So, for example, if one of you are from the capital city, and let's say, you, and I know we did very basic backstories. We're going to keep it that way. We're not going to get more. This doesn't mean we're going to build them up anymore. This is very intentional. The reason why I've done it this way is very intentional. Get to that in a second. But let's say, you are, just throwing this out there, you're a blacksmith and you're from my capital city. There will be other important guilds that you'll know more insider information that could come up later about, and I'll tell you about them. Or you may be from somewhere out in the country where there are rumors of this marauding Goliath or giant gang that I will tell you about. You can keep that to yourself. You can tell the other characters. You can know that information when you get there, and you can warn people, stuff like that. You can use it later. So we'll get into that information at a we may or may not come into that information later, but there'll be definite things I'll tell you. Okay, where you're from, summary. Okay, so we are done with that section. I think, any questions about that?
Are we all starting in the same city for like session 1?
Yeah, we are all starting in the same city. We're all starting kind of in the same event. Now, let's talk about the starting point of this game. So, and the reason why I had you all write very bare bones backstories. For now, we're going to build the backstory in game, okay? Or we're going to build your stories, I should say, not backstories. We're going to build your stories in game. The way that I wanted this world to go is that it's very much going to be, you all are regular people that are going to be put in a situation, and situations are going to escalate. We're not going to be the chosen one. We're not, the people that were called for. I have no problem with those types of games, but I wanted to make it in a way that you kind of start out and then things build around you and then you kind of converge into what's happening, right? So that's kind of where we're going with this. So things will kind of pick up as we go. Okay. Now, metagaming. Yeah, try your best not to. It will happen. I think that, it goes without saying, instead of saying, I want to make a perception roll, we'll say, I'm doing this, and then I'll say make a perception roll. Okay. Describe to me what you're doing, instead of calling out what you think the role would be. Do your best. It'll happen. So let's see.
I think it'll be a lot easier with a group full of experienced people. It's a lot easier to not break immersion if you don't have to explain to somebody like how to make a roll or what a roll is.
Yeah, absolutely.
D&D? Wait, D&D again, guys? Somebody describe that to me?
Yeah, what is a dice?
Yeah.
What is a dice?
Right. And if there's a dispute with the rules, by the way, like if there's something that's wrong with the rules, there may be something where we just decide to make a ruling and then come back to it later, since there are 5 billion rules and some things that are not exactly clear cut. So yeah, that could come up. So just be okay with that. And I did have a player one time who wanted to rehash and argue every single thing, and it got really annoying. And so we're not going to have that, please, I'm begging you, in this game. But okay, so let's go to, so I'm pretty easy. Like this is all about you guys enjoying this game. Okay, I'm really open to what you all want to do. Yes, I gave some restrictions, but for the most part, most things we can make work. With that being said, I had a player in my other game who found, using this as an example, he found, how do I explain it? It was like grappling rules, but they were like wrestling moves made into grappling rules. And it was like something that someone had made up. And he asked me if we can do it. And I read it and I decided to allow it. So if you find any interesting like UA or things like that you want to look at, I can't promise you that we'll do it, but I will at least consider it. Okay, so just throwing that out there. All right, so let's talk about some house rules that I have. Like I said, I'm not strict on policing items. However, it will be your responsibility to remember your items. It will also be your responsibility to know how your character works. I don't want to be explaining. You guys, I have to say it. I'm sorry. Okay, I feel like you're a little bit past this, but I have to say it. I don't want to be explaining, every little thing. Like, please kind of have an idea. Also, kind of think of what you're going to do if we're in combat, so we don't have to like wait 5 minutes for you to decide how you're going to take an action. It will happen sometime. Okay, that's okay. But like in general, kind of have an idea of what you're going to go with. I really do reward creative solutions. Sometimes I have people think of something amazing to get through something, and that will be rewarded. And so those are the types of things that I will give inspiration for. But yeah, just kind of have an idea of what you want to do. Now with roles, and if anybody can tell me, if I really need to read a lot more about D&D Beyond, so I really understand it. I'll catch up by next week. But when somebody crits, I have a rule where I just I don't know what this is called. I know this is used fairly commonly, but we'll add the dice. So if you're rolling like a 2D or 1D8 or 2D8, we add 8, whatever the dice space is, and then we add the roll to that. So that's kind of how I do crits.
The crits does max damage. The crit roll does max damage. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Max damage and then the roll. On top of the dice being rolled again. And then for crit fails, something might happen. So you might drop your weapon, you might accidentally hit someone else. Like there's going to be some type of consequence to that, depending on what I decided it'll be during that one. It's not going to be like you killed someone. It's not obviously not going to be that bad, but it'll be something. Concerning arrows. So if again, the best way that I found kind of to track arrows, if anybody's going to be using a bow, crossbow, or I should say not just arrows, but a consumable like that, I want you to, when you do your roll, like when you do your longbow roll, you'll also, excuse me, you'll also roll a d12 to start out with. If you roll anything but a 1, so you're going to do your damage roll, you're going to do you're going to do your attack roll, and with your attack roll, you're going to roll a d12. That's how it's going to start. And if you roll a 1, the next time you do the roll is you go back to you roll a 10 instead. And then 8, 6, 4, 2. And once you get to, 8, 6, 4. And once you get 1 at that point, then you're out of arrows. So it's kind of assumed that you go in and you're like retrieving arrows. And so those are arrows lost. And so that's kind of how we'll track that. Anything other than a 1, you manage to retrieve all your arrows and you pick them all up. And whatever the cost, I have to look in the book, but whatever the cost is of the arrows, that'll be what you'll have to take from your bank. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So make an attack. Roll a die. If the die is anything except a 1, you're fine. If it's a 1, the next time you roll, the die goes down, and when it reaches its final 1, you're out of the consumable.
Correct.
Cool.
Correct. Okay. Now some of the things that I have set up, I don't think I have to. I probably don't have to do any type of much of a Rule 20 tutorial with you guys. I think you guys said you were all pretty experienced, and I know we're using the D&D character sheets. I'm sorry, D&D Beyond. Some of the things that I have set up in the game. Let me go over. Yeah, so it looks like Toren, you have it set up this way. If you could do the roll twice, I always want to have it roll just to speed combat. If you can set that in your character sheets, please, to roll twice. So we have the advantage and the disadvantage. The left, always advantage, or always what you'll go with. And if it's roll at advantage or disadvantage, go with the highest or lowest.
Yeah, that's what I always do. I like rolling with the two things just because it's less of a hassle whenever you have advantage or disadvantage. You always roll twice.
Yeah.
I always toggle for everything.
Say it again?
I always do the toggle for everything.
Yeah, I normally do too. Control and shift. control for disadvantage, shift for advantage, but can enable. So always roll twice though. That's not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do the roll twice just for consistency's sake. And okay, and then so always roll twice. I might do the I might do the inspiration of, I'm not going to talk about that now, but I don't know how to set it up correctly. I might be doing something else with the inspiration if I figure out how to set it up properly. So more on that if I figure it out. If you all, let me see, throw a token out. Does everybody know that you have to click your token probably to get initiative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did I just do? That is not what I want to do.
I mean, I don't always remember, but I know I have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. I don't either. So if you click on your token, I have a hot button for initiative up there. And so if you drag your token out and click, you'll see on the left, so you don't have to like open up your well, you'll probably have it open in another window, but you can also use that button. I mean, you don't have to, but you can use that button. I just put it there for convenience up in the left-hand corner. I also add the dex score to initiative. I think that should be working for everyone. So that decimal point, that's the dex tiebreaker. If anybody gets the same initiative roll, it will automatically calculate.
Does that add it to the initiative order, the button?
Yeah. So basically, when you click initiative, it'll say like 12.1, 24.
Oh yeah,
like
I'm
that.
just curious how that button adds it to the.
So, also, if you go to Beyond 20, the settings, there's an option there that says Add Tiebreaker to Initiative Roll. If you just enable that, it does the same thing.
Oh, cool. Okay, thank you. Let me put that on. Add tiebreaker. This is the macro, by the way.
Okay,
So,
does that.
but I think that was the answer to your question. It's a macro. If I can figure out how to do the macros that I want to do for inspiration, we'll do something else with that. Okay. One of the things that is really convenient is that like you can when you open up your character sheet, you can like double click on the name and like minimize it. I did not know you could do that for the longest time.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, this is so annoying having my character sheet always covering the like the maps. And then I was like, oh yeah, double click the name. Done. So okay, so actually that is all I had to go over with you guys. I don't really have anything else. Did anybody have any questions or anything you think I missed or anything else you think we should go over?
Yeah, I got a question. A lot of my campaigns we do when we make camp and stuff like that, we do something called a random encounter with our perception. Will you be doing that too?
No, I don't. Maybe. I haven't done that in the past. Do you guys like that?
Random encounters.
Like
Yeah,
random
like-
encounters, like camping and stuff. Yeah, we can do that. I mean, I haven't done it. So like I know exactly what you're talking about. Meaning you roll, to see if an encounter comes up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I can totally do that. I mean, have I done that? Do I do that with my other game? No. But if that's something you guys like, I can do it. It wouldn't happen every time, obviously, but yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, it's like I'm just bringing it up to like add some like flavor to like the camping phase, making sure it's like not completely boring to do it. It's just something to add flavor to the game.
Yeah,
How
we can
often
do
do you
random
camp?
encounters. Is anybody like dead set against that?
No.
Nope.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, my other DM, not in my game, but in my other game, he did random encounters, and he actually had to stop doing it because he did it every single time we like left the town. And we're like, okay, this is too much. Like every time we stepped foot outside of the town, he would do like roll the D100. I was like, oh my God.
I like doing about every 15 miles or so, depending on if they take the road or go through wilderness. Odds are doubled if they go through the wilderness. Otherwise, they're less if they take the road. Just because roads are generally safer and shit for it. But then I also rely too on whatever the perception checks are. If they roll good, then they can avoid a hostile encounter. But if they roll poorly, then they get a hostile encounter.
I like that. Okay, I'll think about that. Yeah, I'll think about. I'll consider all that. I'll think about how I will make those happen. But yeah, okay. So we'll do random encounter. Cool. All right. Anything else?
No, not really.
I think we've kind of hit our bases.
Yeah, I think we went over everything. I think I went over everything that I noted. Okay. Cool. So, oh, one last thing I did have one more thing. Looking at this document, John, you've created. Oh, can you please give me access to that document? It looks like I can't see it.
Oh, okay. Let me fandangle these. Whatchamacallits.
Yeah, I think if you put it on, like.
Oops, no, that's not what I need to do. I will figure this out in a second.
Cool. What is that document? Is that like a tracking document, or what is that exactly?
That's just general notes from the session 0. I don't know how I'm gonna do my note taking moving forward, but this was just for this.
Cool. Okay. So and this is completely on me. I'm not asking anybody to take this on, although I will be happy to have volunteers, but I won't hold it against you if you don't ever have time to do this. But I will be writing session summaries every week and putting them in World Anvil. So if anybody cares to write a session summary one week, send me a message. I will never say that such and such a person did it because I don't want anybody to feel pressured to do that. I actually do it for myself too because I need it. So I'll do the session summaries every week, make sure they're posted at some point before the next game, and I'll put the link in the session summaries chat room. And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right. So first game will be next week, 12 p.m. to 3. We'll generally keep it to 3 hours. Sometimes I'll have something that I will always ask you all well in advance, but I'll see a big event coming up and I'll say, okay, this will flow better in like a longer session. Would you all be okay with that? We'll vote. The vote doesn't necessarily have to be, the vote may have to be unanimous. Sometimes I don't like doing things that make even one person uncomfortable. So we'll see. Yeah, that will come up. But for the most part, we'll stick with that time frame. So
I did want to ask, is there a list of deities in this world?
Oh, deities. Yeah, happy to talk about that. I don't have a list, but here's the thing. The way that there's a few that I can write about in the game updates and announcements. Deities do not come in contact with people, kind of like our world, basically. People believe in them, but nobody has ever actually spoken to them. Sorry if you're religious, I'm not trying to step on your toes, but yeah, so nobody is actually, they don't contact the world directly if they exist. So it's unknown if they actually exist, but people do have deities that they worship. And so, the paladin, for example, that's what your deity would be like. Well, things may or may not change by the time we get to that point. But if you have a deity that you want to worship, it's basically something that you worship, but you've never talked to it. Nobody ever has. Okay. All right. So thank you guys. Yeah. So send me messages if you have anything else that you want to go over. Don't forget to think about where you're from. We'll go over that this week. I'm perfectly okay with any character changes up until the day of. I'm actually okay with in-game character changes too before we get to level 4. But we would have to have a storyline reason to switch out. After that, we'll stick with what we have.
Ooh,
Okay.
I have another question.
Sure.
Food and water management. Are we going off like per long rests we consume like a ration and a water skin, like normal for it, or we don't have to worry about that?
Yeah, I'm definitely not managing. I'm not micromanaging that.
Sweet.
I'm probably I'm still. I think what I'm gonna do is and I'll have a idea of what I'm gonna do probably next session, for sure. But I'll probably just take like a little bit of money out of the group bank myself, but a small amount because rations aren't expensive. I don't even know if I wanted to go that far because it's so cheap to just buy rations, unless something happened where you guys just, let's say there was some catastrophic thing that happened and somebody took all of your gold. Okay. I don't foresee that happening. I'm not that like rough, but it could happen. But other than that, it's like you guys are able to go to a town and buy rations. I don't really care that much.
No, that was something else. I've never done like a group thing. I've always used the equipment in D&D Beyond, and then you can manage your currency, your gold there per character. So is the whole group thing that we just pool all our money together and we just pull out what we need from it? Or do we still have our own individual plus money that we put towards the group itself to set aside?
Yeah, great question. There will be money that you have your own personal money, and you'll quickly see that you all may be doing jobs or you may be doing, you guys may be doing jobs that's paying the group. So or you may find something that nobody actually gets. Now, this is up to you, okay? You may on the spot say, okay, this NPC is paying us 25 gold to do this. Everybody take 5 gold each. Or you can throw it in the bank. I just have that there to whatever you guys, decide not to set up. You're being paid 100 gold for a mission. You can just throw it into the group bank, but that's up to you. Also, items that seem important for everybody to remember in your minds are helpful to put into a group bank. So.
Okay.
I was just thinking, half is split immediately, half in the group bank, last one alive gets the whole pot.
Right, exactly.
PvP, we all start trying to kill each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're murdering each other to get the money.
Yeah, this is not a PvP. I think that goes without saying. I didn't even say that because I'm like, this group is not gonna do, but yeah, okay. All right, anything else? All right, so we'll go ahead and sign off. Send me your questions if you have anything else that you think of. I promise I haven't thought of it. Obviously I haven't thought of every contingency, so I'll get back to those as soon as we can. All right?
All right.
All right.
All right, thanks everyone.
Ladies,
Thank you. Peace.
Guys.
Yeah.